your workflow is terrible, okay? Because, first you probably need to refresh your Power BI reports, do some analysis. Then you need to copy and paste either your data or the screenshots from Power BI into PowerPoint. Then once you have this, you need to align with other people, seek inputs from those experts, and then you somehow write the comments. And you do that by adding text elements or those comments or callouts to PowerPoint. Then you spend like an hour to align everything in PowerPoint. You move it around, and then you find out that it would be better to have a slightly bigger chart. So you move you resize the chart, and then you need to move all of those text boxes on top of the chart and align them again, and so on. And so you're just doing a completely irrelevant work that a data analyst should not really be doing. It's a total waste of time, right? And then of course you share those reports. Then there are several iterations and so on, and updating it again and again and again. And now, what happens next month? Just the same story again and again and again. And people just spend like 5 days or more or 10 days just doing this copy pasting and moving those text boxes around, right? And what is the result? Those people who are doing this, they have a ton of versions of those PowerPoints on their local computers. If you want to check something from the previous month or something like that, you need to find the right file with the right version of the file, and and so on, right? So it's terrible. All right, so what's the better way of doing it? Yeah, well, the ideal way of doing it would be just to refresh things in Power BI, do the analysis, do a couple of drill downs and so on, understand what's going on, write the comments directly to the Power BI report in a way that everybody would then just read it in the same instance. All right, and this is exactly what we will do today. So let me show you how. Okay, let's start with a simple example. So this is the example I was I was showing before. So we have a chart here, a monthly chart, waterfall chart, and we have a comment. All right, so there's a comment here, and of course this is now completely dynamic because okay, this is now the revenue, right? And if I select, the other KPI costs, for example, I get other comments here, gross profit. I get another comments here. Of course, everything is filtered, including the comments. So the comments are basically an integral part of my whole dashboard, right? So they are being stored. They are aware of the filter context and so on. So this is extremely important. It's very easy to put them in and maintain them and so on. How do you put them in? So for example, let's go back to my revenue here, and let's add a comment. Okay, how do you do it? Like how my mother would do it. Click on this icon, and I get a couple of options here. So this is the add comment button. You just select this, and now you can put your comments anywhere you want. So for example, let's add a comment for the month of December. Let's drop it here. And that's it. I simply need to write my explanation. What happened in the month of December so that we are minus 2.5% below the plan. All right, what went wrong? So I don't know. Maybe I just happen to know that the deal for the client XYZ slipped into the next year, right? Something like that. Supposed to be a huge deal. Unfortunately, it slipped. And that's how we ended our year below the plan. All right, could be something completely different. Of course, this is your knowledge, this is your business. The key point is that you just simply, in a very short, precise, exact way, add the information to exactly the right data point. Okay, and then when you do this, that first of all, these comment markers here, they should stick to your visualization. So I just call it sticky, sticky comments, right? There's this sticky behavior. So for example, if you, let's close the comments. So now it's added. If I change the chart type, the comment is still here. Of course, it's on a different position. I don't have to just click on it, move it around, drag it around, and so on. If you want to change the design a little bit, have a wider comment box or something, no problem, right? You can move it around into different positions. You can organize it in a different way, and so on, right? It's just an integral part of the visual itself. All right, so you can just, it will work in any kind of chart type. If you resize your visuals, it will just stick to the right data category. And even if you will filter the data, it will respond to the filter. Okay, so let me actually show this in another example. So this was a sales dashboard. Now let's move on to some financial reports. Let's start here. Okay, so this is now a table. I actually provided a couple of comments before that, but you see, you can just delete them simply. You can edit them, edit the text, right? Or you can simply add another one. So let's add another comment. Comment here for the costs of goods sold. All right. So it's above the budget due to service costs, and some additional explanation should be to the point, right? Service costs, the maintenance contract has changed. Okay, something meaningful, right? So you just add it in. Okay, so I'm getting this comment here. It's a new comment. Now look what happens. This is because it's an integral part of the visualization, right? It will respond to any kind of typical events you're doing in your dashboards. Like, for example, if you have a hierarchical data representation, like in my case, hierarchical data, I actually have a hierarchy here. I have account groups and accounts. So if I close this branch here, only seeing my revenue, all right, and then seeing my costs, you see that this marker has moved, and now the comment that was actually below the revenue, because it was on one level deeper in my hierarchy, it's actually about service and other revenue, right? If I close this here, it will get hidden, right? Because I'm not showing the exact account of service and other revenue. However, this little indicator here, we call this comment indicator, indicates to me that there are certain comments, certain insights that are like below this level here. So even as a user, I simply click on this marker, and the visual will automatically expand to the last level where the comments are. So now I see, okay, so this was hiding, this knowledge was hiding, inside my revenue branch, and voila, I can now actually read the explanation and possibly some advice what to do about it. All right, so these are all benefits of reporting, right? So I added this comment, right? Now, what will happen if I change the slicers? All right. So first of all, if I just switch to, like for example, balance sheet. All right. Now I don't see those comments, because those comments were actually made for P&L, right? So this is basically a slicer filtering my accounts here. And because I have explicitly commented on my costs of goods sold, right? Of course, I won't see it in my balance sheet view, right? But I can add something else, I can add another comment for something else, like, oh, account receivables. Oops, not good. So, another comment here. Voila. Store it, and now it's stored in the visual forever. Okay, so the storage, like the history of everything, it's being done out of the box. It's in the visual itself, right? So now if I switch here and here, you see the comments are being filtered automatically because they are linked to specific accounts that are already on the visual, right? Now, there's another case, which is, all right, now I have a completely outside filter like month, okay? And it's a typical situation, right? Now I want to move to May. All right. What happened? I still see these comments, all right? Okay, why? Because I didn't tell the visual that the comments should actually be stored for each value of the month separately. At this point, the visual does not have the information about this slicer, this filter. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to simply just bring in the filter context. All right, that's why all Zebra BI visuals now have this filters bucket. All right, so simply now let's do it now. Let me just delete this. Sorry, just delete this. Okay, and now I'll change the setting, and I will say, okay, I want my calendar month. I'll put it in my filters for this visual. So now this visual is aware of the filter context for month, and now it will know that I want to store my comments for each month separately. So let's do this now for May. And let's add a comment. Right. All right. Research and development costs 12% above the budget. Oh no. So, comment here for May. What happened, why, and so on. Voila. Store it. All right. And then we move on. Next month, June. All right. New situation. Of course, there are no comments. Now the visual knows that the filter context is this, and it has stored the comment, my comment, on the month of May. Voila, here it is. And if I go to June, I add a couple more. Okay, and it will be stored for June and probably for another account, right? And this history is all being stored here. So for example, if you now go on a meeting and you present the situation for June and so on, and somebody will say, oh, what did we say last month on our last meeting and so on, you'll say, all right, no worries. Let's see. You switch to May and you will have all of your comments there, right? So you won't have to go to the guy who has all the versions of their PowerPoint stored somewhere to send you the email, the PowerPoint via email, or possibly the wrong version of that PowerPoint and so on. This is all being stored live on the central place, on the governed place, which is Power BI. Okay, so I hope you agree that this is a really straightforward way. I think my mother could do it. So I think it's really straightforward, right? Now, this is not all. Okay. So first of all, you can add more things like not just commentary. Commentary, of course, I would say is the most important thing. However, you can also do things like add an area highlight. Okay, so this is what we call area highlight. I have a different mouse like icon cursor shape, and I can just select an area on my report. Like, okay, this area, for example, and I can just highlight it, right? And in the next version that is coming out actually very, very soon, I will submit it tomorrow. You will be able to then add comment also on this highlighted area. So, you know, it'll get even better with new updates of Zebra BI. Or you can do you can highlight just one. You see just one value here, and of course now all those comments and the highlights, they're completely dynamic. So for example, if you decide to change your layout of your reports at any point, of course it doesn't matter, because now you can just, you know, flip the reorder your columns, or, you know, change it to this kind of to the table view, or hide certain columns from your view, and so on. Everything will still work, right? And if you flip to, you know, you switch to the text view of the table, it'll be here, and all that, right? So this, I think, is the, you know, quite a good way of doing it, and it's quite a reliable way that you will not lose things, or you know, needs to move them around manually, and so on. All right, one more tip. Many times certain like emphasis inside the comments is quite important. You need it sometimes. So for example, let's create another comment here. Operating income 2 million below the plan. All right, so operating income 2 million below plan due to whatever unexpected G&A expenses and so on. So you provide an explanation, and now you would like to like emphasize, you may make parts of the text bold or italic and so on, right? So in this version, you can actually add some HTML tags, HTML tags. So what you can do is just simply say, all right, just provide the bold. Okay, this is not the most user-friendly way. So my mother couldn't do that. So that's why we are adding an editor where you actually just click on a button, bold and italics and underline, and there will be some styles and some cool things like icons also in the next version. But already here, you can just mark certain parts of the text, bold, italics, and so on. So basically, we support rich text formatting for selected tags in the comments.